John Daly is 60 years old, 2 major championships, 5 PGA Tour wins, and a life lived louder than anyone in the history of golf. But this year, something quietly happened that almost nobody noticed, and it may be the saddest chapter yet for the wildest man the sport has ever seen. Here's the full story. To understand how heartbreaking this moment is, you have to go back to where it began, because no one in golf has ever arrived the way John Daly did. It was August of 1991, the PGA Championship at Crooked Stick in Indiana. Daly was not supposed to be there. He was the 9th and final alternate, meaning 8 other golfers ahead of him all had to drop out before he could get in. He got the call the night before the first round, drove through the night from Memphis, arrived without ever having seen the course, without a single practice round, and without a clue what was coming. He grabbed a local caddy, walked to the first tee, and simply did what he did better than anyone alive. He gripped it and ripped it. 5 days later, the 25-year-old unknown had won the PGA Championship by 3 shots. He was named Rookie of the Year, and golf had a new kind of star, a chain-smoking, beer-drinking, blue-collar everyman who hit the ball into another zip code and looked like the guy you'd find at the end of the bar, not on the leaderboard of a major. The galleries adored him. He was golf's first true folk hero, and the legend only grew. 4 years later, in July of 1995, came the second act. The Open Championship at St. Andrews, the home of golf, the most sacred ground the sport has. Daly battled to a playoff against Costantino Rocca, then beat him to lift the claret jug. 2 majors, 2 of the most iconic venues in the world. By 29 years old, John Daly had done what almost no one ever does. He had cemented himself in golf history forever. That was the peak. And from the very top of the mountain, the long, slow descent began, and it was a descent that Daly built with his own hands, because the same wildness that made him beloved was the thing that was quietly destroying him. The drinking came first, and never really left. As early as 1993, Daly entered alcohol rehabilitation. Over the course of his career, he would receive 7 separate PGA Tour orders to attend counseling or treatment for his alcoholism. He was suspended 5 times. He was fined more than $100,000. He was cited 11 times for conduct unbecoming of a professional and 21 times for failing to give his best efforts. He walked off courses mid-round. He threw scorecards. He got into a physical scuffle at a tournament. The talent was undeniable, but the self-destruction was relentless, and it ran on a parallel track to everything he achieved. Then there was the gambling, which may be the most staggering part of the entire story. By his own admission, Daly gambled away an astonishing fortune over the years, with estimates running into the tens of millions of dollars, money won on the course and lost at the casino. He has spoken openly about losing more in a single weekend than most people earn in a lifetime. The money came in, and the money went out, and the cycle never truly stopped. And then there was his personal life, which mirrored the chaos of everything else. 4 marriages, multiple divorces. A private life that played out in tabloids and court documents, full of turbulence and pain that he rarely tried to hide. Daly never pretended to be anything other than what he was. That honesty was part of why people loved him. But honesty does not soften the cost, and the cost kept climbing. Through all of it, the one constant was the cigarettes. Daly smoked relentlessly, famously, for decades. On his 59th birthday, a fan referenced a story about him smoking 21 cigarettes during a single round of golf, and Daly simply acknowledged it as fact. He has joked about a pre-round routine built around cigarettes and very little water. It was part of the brand, part of the myth, part of the everyman charm, and it was also slowly killing him. Quick pause. If you grew up watching John Daly and he made you fall in love with golf, type Long John in the comments. If you think he's still got one more magic moment left in him, type grip it and rip it. I read every single one. Because in September of 2020, the bill came due. Daly, then 54, had been suffering from back pain and what he thought were kidney stones. He went in for a checkup. The scan found something else entirely. The doctor told him not to drink the Diet Coke he was holding. He had bladder cancer. The symptoms had been there for a while. He was urinating blood. He was, in his own blunt words, peeing blood and puking blood. Smoking is the single leading risk factor for bladder cancer, and Daly had smoked more than almost anyone in the sport. He underwent surgery to remove the cancer, and it was deemed successful. But his urologist delivered a brutal piece of news. There was an 85% chance it would come back. Bladder cancer has one of the highest recurrence rates of any cancer, which means a lifetime of checkups, scans, and the constant quiet dread of the next appointment. Daly faced it the only way he knew how. "My whole life I've beaten the odds," he said, "so it's not time to stop now." And in another moment of raw honesty, I always tell people I've lived one hell of a life. No matter what happens, I'm not scared to die. He fought it. By 2025, he was able to say the cancer had been in remission for several years, but the body that carried him through all of it was breaking down in every other way. Severe arthritis took hold of his knees, so bad that he now requires a golf cart to compete, playing major championships under disability accommodations because he can no longer walk 18 holes. In January of 2025, he underwent emergency surgery on his left hand, the kind of injury that destroys the delicate touch a golfer needs around the greens and on the putting surface. The results on the course told the story plainly. At the 2024 Open Championship at Royal Troon, his beloved Open, he shot 79 and 77 and missed the cut, and afterward admitted he did not know how many Opens he had left in him. At the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla, riding in a cart, he opened with an 82, sat one shot off dead last in the entire field, and withdrew before the second round with an injury. The man who once overpowered every course on earth was now fighting just to finish. And here is where the quiet tragedy of 2026 lands. This year, Daly turned 60 in late April. Because the R&A lowered the age limit for past champions, his exemption to play the Open was grandfathered only through the age of 60, meaning his final Open Championship appearance arrives this year and then is gone forever. The Open at St. Andrews made him a legend. Now the door is simply closing. And the PGA Championship, the very tournament that created him back in 1991, the major he holds a lifetime exemption to play, came to Aranamink in May of 2026 without him. Fans wondered if golf's folk hero would make the trip one more time. He did not. Days earlier, he had withdrawn from a PGA Tour Champions event, and while he offered no public explanation, the assumption was the same as it has been for years now: his health. The man who never missed a chance to show up for the fans simply could not be there. He is not retired. He has not announced anything. He is still out there when his body allows it, still chasing a hot putter, still cracking jokes, still telling anyone who will listen that he is like Lazarus, that he keeps coming back from the dead. There were bright moments too, real ones, like winning the 2021 PNC Championship alongside his son John Daly II, the two of them beating Tiger and Charlie Woods, a father and son sharing the kind of joy that no amount of hardship can erase. But that is what makes this moment so heavy. John Daly gave golf something it had never had before and has never quite had since. He made millions of people who felt like outsiders believe the game belonged to them too. He won at Crooked Stick and at St. Andrews. He brought color and noise and humanity to a sport that often had none. And he did it while quietly paying a price most people will never fully understand. What makes this beyond heartbreaking is not that he is losing his exemptions, or that his scores have climbed, or that he rides in a cart now. It is that one of the most naturally gifted and genuinely beloved figures the game has ever produced is spending his 60th year living with the full weight of every choice, every cigarette, every drink, every roll of the dice. The legend is still here, the body is failing, and the door on the biggest stages is closing, one major at a time. He told us himself he lived one hell of a life. The tragedy is that the bill for a life like that always comes, and for John Daly, it is coming due now, in full, while the rest of us watch a folk hero quietly fade. If this one hit you, drop a like before you scroll away. It is the single biggest thing that tells the algorithm to push these stories to other golf fans who might never see them otherwise. And subscribe if you want more of these, the kind that take the long view instead of the loud one. There are more coming.